Okay, this is what my plane's looking like so far. Thought I'd do a quick little video. I wanted to show how I mounted my wings to my plane. Um, See, it's coming along pretty well. I got the canopy rounded over. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I don't remember when the last time it was. I did a update video, but yeah. So this is what it's looking like so far. I'm getting ready to install the elevator right now. I've got the rudder cut and marked out and ready for the hinge pins to go in. And see that hole right there? That's for one of the elevator servos. I got another one on the other side. The rudder servo, I think I'm going to put that on the inside. But anyway, I wanted to show what I've done to mount the wings. So I'll take the canopy and set this aside. I'm not real sure how I'm going to mount the canopy yet. I haven't decided. But if you look at the inside here, actually, Terry, this here ought to look somewhat familiar to to your planes. As I've gone back and I've watched quite a few of your videos, especially that one in particular you did for me. You showed me how the wings get attached to the fuselage. I've done basically the same thing, I think. The wing. Okay, well, let's start here. I've got a piece of it's a steel tube. It's actually a pretty thin-walled tubing. I was wanting to get carbon fiber, but carbon fiber is expensive. So actually, I went and got a cheap mop from the hardware store. It's got a thin-walled aluminum handle, and actually that's what I'm using for my wing spar tubes. And then the wing spar is a 7/8 inch oak dowel rod. It's 4 feet long. So I've got my wing tube here, and here on the inside I cut these diamonds, one on that side, one on that side. I cut those for some reinforcement on the inside of the fuselage, because I mean, let's face it, this is just foam. So I've got some a couple of diamonds on the inside. This hole right here is for my servo leads to come through, and I've got one on this side. Here I've got the wing, and there's a couple layers of thin plywood here. The first layer is, well, okay, there's 2 layers of plywood, of 1/8 inch plywood, that match the airfoil, that match the root cord here of the wing, and I did 2 of them because of what I'm going to show you next. But I wanted some strength, and these are Gorilla Glued to the wing, and then hot glued around the seam, just to make sure that hopefully stays tight. Then there's 2 layers of plywood here, except this outer layer, actually I cut out this shape here of the airfoil. I cut that out of the first layer, and then the second layer here that's against the fuselage, that is a solid diamond, because it's an elongated diamond there. So the wing actually sits inside this first piece of plywood and butts up against the second layer of plywood, which is epoxied to the foam on between the plywood and the foam. That's epoxy, and then I ran hot glue around the outside. And then there's a wing bolt there, and a wing bolt back here, and wing bolt there, and wing bolt here. That hole there is for the servo leads. And I tell you what, when you slide that up against there, the piece of plywood that recesses in there, it's very, very tight. And I did that because I didn't want the wing to torque or rotate up along here I didn't want to trust just the nylon bolts to keep it in place. I know some wings have they've got little anti-rotation pins, keep the wing from torquing, and I thought about doing that on this, but then I came up with this idea, and so this sits inside there. I'll probably be using some Gorilla Glue. I might even do it tonight between the fuselage side and the sides of my motor mount, because I don't have that glued in there. That's just friction fitted in there right now. But there'll be plenty of room. I'm sure anywhere from this point here up to the nose underneath the firewall here to adjust for my CG with the batteries. Because like I said, I'm gonna run a 12-cell setup on this. But yeah, there's the motor mount, and that's pretty much what I've come up with. When I get this all done and take it out for its maiden flight, I'll get the video camera started up, and I'll show you guys how I attached everything. As far as the color of this plane, I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to cover it all in clear packing tape. I think the packing tape will it'll help hold everything together a little bit. And packing tape is cheap. I was thinking about using poster board or colored duct tape or colored packing tape to add some color to it. But I'm trying to keep the cost on this down, because I'm starting to get up there in the cost a little bit, and I've got a couple other projects that I'd like to get started on. I'd like to keep the money for that. So this here, it's probably just going to be raw like this, and well, I can't imagine cosmetics will affect the flight characteristics. So I'm just going to wrap it in clear packing tape. You can see the wings I've already done. The wings, I'll show you here. It's that insulation foam board, and I made some relief cuts in it. That way it would fold around my wing spar tube, and then I shot some Expandifoam on the inside of both wings to give it some strength and rigidity. And I'm sure this Expandifoam also acts as like a glue to help keep the top and bottom halves together. And Expandifoam is cheap. You can see on the underside here, when I was shooting the Expandifoam in there, I actually had a bunch of vent holes in it. That way I could shoot it in the holes, and whatever excess Expandifoam there was would vent out of those holes, and it worked out pretty good. I was real happy with that. So that's my progress so far. As far as the landing gear is concerned, I was actually thinking about making the front landing gear and the steerable tail wheel out of fiberglass, as I've got some experience with fiberglass. It's not that hard to work with. I just don't care for the smell. But I was thinking about making those on my own. And then I got to thinking about it, just for simplicity's sake, I think I'm just going to buy them either from Tower Hobbies or 3D Hobbies. So we can get some carbon fiber landing gear and put them on there, just so I know that they're good and strong. And I was also kind of concerned about the fiberglass being a bit too flexy, because I'm estimating this plane to be about 14-15 pounds when it's done. So yep, it's coming along. Appreciate you guys watching. Oh, and Terry, I really appreciate your tips that you share in your videos to get my elevator installed properly. I was following your tips on measuring from the elevator to the corner of the wing to make sure everything is square. Apparently, when I did my wings and everything, getting everything square didn't quite happen. My wings are out of square by, what was it? I think it was just under 1/8 of an inch. So, I guess I can deal with that. I'm not Mr. Precise. But anyway, Terry, I appreciate all your tips that you share, and hopefully this thing will work out pretty well.